Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach Today. I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's JB. Super pumped you're here today as we're rocking and rolling, having some fun and putting some great energy out there. And I got to tell you, this is a re-record. Chris Cammons notified me today. It's almost noon. Apologize for some reason. The wrong microphone picked up yesterday. When you do 365 days a year and you do 4,784, sometimes you don't catch it. I didn't listen, and typically I listen every morning to the Coach Cast, but I didn't listen this morning, so I didn't hear that. But Chris did. Thank you so much for making me aware of that. And if you ever hear something or something's off or something, just let me know. I mean, we love questions. Linda, a new member, just put in, she was trying to figure out where the downloads are on the right side within the curriculum of the course. That's super cool. I love questions. And by the way, we're working on a new structure. Jamie's helping me. Jurgen's helping on a kind of a new way we could communicate and work together. We're really going slow because we want to set it up right, but it's going to be really good as we are getting the system structured for 2023. Super pumped. I mean, we've got some great things going. Just like this week, we're going to talk about moving past the victim mentality today. Tomorrow, we're back into the book study, talking about essentialism, which is perfect for right now, really figuring out what's really important that we need to be working on. Wednesday is metaphysics, our deep day, using the negative to become more positive. Thursday, we've got a really cool one. I've never done this before, but I've got a recording of a 9-minute kind of idea on dopamine and reward. And it was so good that I thought, hey, let's just do a Coach Cast around this. So don't miss Thursday because you're going to love that one. It's really powerful. And I know you try to listen to 3 to 5. Some of you listen to all of them, which is great. But if you get a chance, make sure you don't miss Thursday. Friday, moving past or dealing with past guilt, an important one. Saturday, self-love is the first love and some systems to make sure we're doing that. Sunday, we're getting a little bit more into our consciousness and metaphysics. For those of you that are new, that's my doctorate is in metaphysics. I studied that, and I love it, even though I have a master's in business, and I actually love business and the ILD concept. Sometimes going into the metaphysical is a lot of fun for me, so we're doing that on Sundays and a little bit of Wednesdays. But today we're talking about this idea of moving past a victim mentality, okay? And in doing that, we've got to realize that at some point we all become victims. And I don't want to make this a situation where we're lacking compassion, because when you get into this concept of victim mentality, there's a lot of people that take offense to it. They're like, oh, I'm a victim, right? And they get angry and they identify as that victim. And the truth is, there are people that are really victims, right? That have gone through very traumatic things. And so I don't want to lack compassion here on the show. But the truth is, I'm going to push you. That's what I do. That's the whole concept behind what we do. My job is to push you and to get you thinking differently. And then we're going to pause a little bit. This comes from Matt Kramer. This is actually our retreat idea and concept, but I love it. And then we're going to play. Right? So push, pause, play. And so when I push your buttons a little bit and I say, hey, let's get rid of the victim mentality and see what you're being a victim about, we need to step back and take a look at this. And are there things where you need therapy? Yes. We're coaches and consultants and educators here. We are not therapists. And I think that's really important to understand. If you've been through some significant trauma, getting help from a professional is really important. But I'm still going to push you past the victim mentality and say, hey, come on. Let's do what we can. Let's wake up today as a new day and focus on the things that we can accomplish today by getting rid of that mentality, okay? And again, if I need help, then stop being a victim and go get help from a therapist, and that will help you. But I'm going to push you through barriers. I think about, and I've mentioned this a few times, that, training with Mike Lee Kanarick, he's ex-Israeli Special Forces, but what makes him special is all his training kind of outside of that military. And training with some of the best in the world in the martial arts, understanding how far he could push somebody. And that's what makes him great, whether he's pushing somebody that's special forces or he has somebody that comes to him that's just a regular civilian. He knows how far they can take them. I think about the 30, 40 hours, no food, no sleep, and going across the lake and about drowning and having him there on the side screaming, there's an alligator, and just pushing us to the point of the brink of exhaustion and fatigue and just mental breakdown. But knowing when to let up a little bit. And that's how you can trust somebody. When you have a coach or a mentor that can take you to the brink and push you to the point of exhaustion, push you to the point where you start questioning things, that's a good place to be because you get stronger. You know, we grow through what we go through. And that's what we do. We get stronger. And so understanding that as we approach this idea of victim mentality, we need to really look at, hey, what has happened to me? And then woe is me, or can I learn from that? Can I be like Oprah Winfrey, who had one of the worst things, a youthful sexual against her, right? It was terrible. I mean, she was sexually abused as a child. That's just horrible. I mean, I can't think of anything worse than that betrayal, right? Able to come out of that and help so many other people. And not that she ever removed being a victim, right? It's still there, but being able to utilize that and say, okay, I've had that issue. Something happened. How can I get through it to become the best person that I can become, to live the best life that I possibly can? And that's the difference between getting sucked into victim mentality, where it's like, oh, I'm a victim, and then not able to overcome it, right? And again, sometimes you need therapy. You don't need a coach screaming at you. Get over that, right? Sometimes you need to go to a therapist. But if it's taking over your life and you're not performing, then that's a problem. And we have that a lot in society today, that people are taking issues. And I'm not talking about sexual abuse. I'm not talking about rape or something horrible like that, right? I'm talking about just simple things like I'm too old. I'm too old. I don't have the right education. So I'm a victim, right? The system's against me. The system doesn't work for me, right? I come from the wrong socioeconomic group, the wrong background. That's the victim mentality that I'm really strong about. Right? Because it's like, wait a minute, I know people from every socioeconomic, I know people from every race, creed, and color that have done amazing things, right? So let's get rid of the victim mentality. I get it, but I'm not going to allow it as a coach. And I think that's really important. I'm going to push, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to play. We're going to work through that. We're going to work through that, and we're going to get you there. Do I lack compassion? No, because I want you to live your best life ever. And it's really hard to live your best life as a victim. I think when I always talk about Zig Ziglar, because See You at the Top is the first real book that I read about personal development. I always thought it was a little later, but it was actually in this health class. The health teacher brought See You in at the Top. And I didn't realize how much of an impact that had, because the stories were so good in there. And one of the stories he talked about was the loser's limp. And I could relate, because I was a cornerback in football, meaning we covered the wide receiver, right? And you would get burnt a lot. Like people would score a touchdown, and you had it, we call it, having selective memory, being able to forget about it, be able to get out there and play the next play. It's going to happen. If you're a cornerback, I don't care how you are, how great you are. I don't care if you're Deion Sanders, who's the best of all time. People caught touchdowns on Deion Sanders, right? So understanding that, there was the loser's limp that he talked about, and it was a football player that, ran as fast as he could, and then the quarterback threw him the ball, hit him right in the hands, and he dropped it. And dropped it, right? The cornerback was there, but wasn't even close, and he just was wide open and dropped it. And what do some people do? They fall to the ground. Oh, my leg. Oh, my gosh, my leg. Oh, I pulled a hamstring. I couldn't do it. And he called that the loser's limp. And I could relate, because I came from athletics. I was like, God, I remember I've seen people do that. I've done it before. Made a mistake, and it's, oh, my knee hurt. That's why I made the mistake. That's a victim. That's a loser's limp. That's not a reality of the situation. And in society today, there's just millions of them that we could all be victims. Every single one of us could find something to be a victim of. My family was blue-collar workers, worked in factories all their life, kind of middle-class Indiana upbringing. My education was okay, I guess, when I was younger. I got held back in third grade. I think I've mentioned that many times. I was labeled special needs, that I would never be able to speak right. I mean, those are things that I could have all taken on, right? I would never be able to speak right. Well, I wouldn't be here doing this. It's amazing, right? And so society is going to allow you to be a victim, because when you're a victim, you're easier to be controlled. If you've got all these issues, well, it's like, well, then it's easy to control you. But I'm here to help you live your best life. And so we want to push past that. And we got to realize that you are a human being. You got to realize you're going to make mistakes. You got to realize everybody has issues. Everybody comes from something. Now, are there people that do have other things that other people don't? Yes, of course. In society today, I'm not going to play the game and say, hey, somebody that comes from an upbringing that their parents were multimillionaires and they had Ivy League education. Yeah, I think they definitely have a little hand up on others, right? I mean, if you think about it, if your parents were putting money in the market in the 50s and 60s, let's say, and they were mid-management and they were making $60,000, $80,000 and they were dumping $10,000 in, that would be worth $10, $20 million. Do those people have an advantage? I would say they got a little bit of an advantage. Doesn't mean they're living their best life, because I know a lot of them. right? And a lot of them struggle because they aren't able to create, and they don't create. They just live on the money that their parents have given them. And that's a challenging place to be. A lot of them come to me because they're like, well, how can I find happiness and joy in my life? I'm financially stable. But it's not about money all the time. I mean, it is if you don't have money, right? I don't want to be hypocritical and say it's not, because it is. You need money to be able to generate and live life. I mean, we're going into next year to make money. I mean, I'm focusing on money. I want to grow this so that I can help other people. In order to advertise YouTube at $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, I need revenue, right? And that turns into more money, but you got to be able to put the money out in order to do that. So it costs a lot of money to do advertising, right? So point is that, yeah, some people do have an advantage, but that's no reason for you to say, I'm a victim. Society hasn't worked with me. Society didn't allow it to work. My education sucks. I've got plenty of people around me. Matt Kramer, a great friend of mine. I think he's one of the smartest people I know. He dropped out of high school. A lot of excuses he could make, right? Doesn't even have a high school education, dropped out of high school, went to go be a singer, worked with a rock band. So my point is, today as we go forward, let's understand we're going to make mistakes, and you got to give yourself some time to recover from that. You are a human being. There are things you're going to do that you're not going to be happy with yourself. There are going to be things that happen, for example, let's use alcohol. That's one of the things I'm avoiding. But there's still times I'll go out and drink, and I'll drink too much, right? And I can say, oh, I'm an alcoholic, I got alcohol use disorder, or whatever, all those different excuses. Truth is, I made a mistake. But was it even a mistake? Maybe I needed that night out, right? It was a mistake because it took me off my path that I didn't want to be on, but maybe it wasn't a mistake. As Steve Jobs has taught us that years ago, we don't know until later in life you could connect the dots. Certain things I'm doing, so I don't do that, right? And I'm staying AF. I've been doing really good about that. But hey, sometimes maybe if it happens, am I going to beat myself up? Am I going to scream victim? Am I going to put a bunch of labels on myself and say I can never achieve? I can never function? No, but many people do. And that's what I want you thinking about this week. Again, it's not a lack of compassion, okay? We are pushing you. We're getting you to think differently. Remember, we grow through what we go through. And the great thing about it is we can start today. Like, everything could change if we just start today. When you go to bed, you wake up. I think it was Gandhi that said, every day I die and every day I'm born again. That's a beautiful thing when you really think about it. It's wonderful. I mean, what a great way to live. I can go to bed tonight, forgive myself, and recognize that I need to make some changes and work on my best life tomorrow. And then get up in the morning and do the best I can. That's all I can do. Just like this CoachCast. It was a mess, right? Chris sent me a message, and we got it up in Discord. It sounds like it was coming out of a tin can. I didn't hear it. It was a mistake. So what am I doing? It's noon on Monday, and I'm sitting here redoing this. Why? Because I want it to be great. I don't want it to be good. I'm sitting here in the studio, and I must have picked up the wrong microphone. I had the wrong setting. Who knows? But something happens. I'm going to forgive myself, and I'm going to just do the work. I'm going to get back at it and do it and get this up and replace what I have up there. That's what we do. So the idea this week is to take some personal responsibility for the things in your life. All the mistakes, all the issues that have happened, I can tell you there's one person that shows up. There's one person looking in the mirror. I see him every time he shows up, and that's me. Every time there's a mistake, every time there's an issue, every time something happens, I'm there. And I got to take personal responsibility for that. Am I going to be a victim about it? No, but I'm going to realize that I have made mistakes, and that's okay. We're a human being, and you got to start to allow yourself to be a human being once in a while. That's the hardest part for me with other people, is sometimes they don't allow yourself to be a human being. So allow yourself to be a human being. Recognize you made some mistakes. Get organized, and then start today, right? Get going, because what happens is when you're a victim, you start to settle. And the last thing I want you to do with us working together is to settle. I don't want you to settle for anything best than the best life that you could possibly live. And living the best life means you're going to go through things. You're going to grow. It's the person you're going to be becoming that's going to allow you to live the best life. So you've got to be able to put the energy out there. And that's what we're doing together, starting today, okay? And we've got so many wonderful systems coming. We've got some things we're all working on that we're going to be giving you and showing you what we're doing. But today, I want you to focus in on living your best life. And how do we do that? We get rid of the victim mentality. We realize that there are issues. We realize we're a human being, and we go after it. And that's what we're working on together. Okay, so I love you. Get out there, have a fantastic day. It's going to be awesome. Let's keep the energy positive, and let's get after that victim mentality. It's time to let it go and realize, hey, yeah, maybe I do need some help, and that's okay. Go get it. And then let's focus on making your best life ever. Like Gandhi said, we died today. We woke up this morning. It's a brand new day, brand new life. Let's go after it. Okay, I love you. Go to it, and I'll be back with more right here tomorrow on morningcoach.com. All right, you made it to the end. That is fantastic. You should go check out morningcoach.com because you can get coaching with me every single day. We have some great programs. Ignite, which is for those of you that are just like in corporate, maybe haven't hit there financially, but want to get organized, understand how to think and put a plan together. We got some amazing things coming for 2023. And Freedom, that's for those of you that are in business looking to build residual and passive income, something I've done for the past 18 years. There's nothing out there like this where I can help you. But the one thing you're going to get is this daily coaching to help you start your day every single day, 365 days of the year. So go over there and get signed up. We'll see you over at morningcoach.com, and I will see you tomorrow right here at Morning Coach. Once you get it, we'll work together every single day. It's awesome. I'll see you over at Morning Coach.